Hi, my name is Elise, and you're listening to Chatterbox Island English Podcast. Welcome back to Chatterbox Island English Podcast. I'm your host, Elise. If you're new to this podcast, hello and welcome. This is an all-English podcast, but we don't talk about grammar rules or vocabulary like other English learning podcasts. Instead, we just talk about some easy and everyday topics. And I usually put all the keywords of each episode down in the description, so feel free to check them out if you want to. And I hope you'll find this show interesting. And be sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content.So in the last episode, we talked about ebooks versus physical books and the differences and advantages between the two. So if you haven't listened to that episode, be sure to check it out after this one. And if you want to listen to any previous episodes of this podcast, you can click on any platform that you're listening to right now.So for today's episode, we're gonna talk about something more casual, which is online dating, or more specifically, is online dating bad for us? Now again, this is a huge issue to tackle with, but first, let's just start with two questions. 1. Have you ever used any online dating apps?2. If so, how was your experience? And if not, what's stopping you from trying or using online dating apps? And for me, I've personally used online dating apps before. Well, just one online dating app, which is Tinder. And by the way, they're not sponsoring today's episode. It's just what I have used before. And I think I am neutral on this subject.I mean, yes, online dating can be a bit risky, but it's also undeniably a new way for people to meet new friends and potential partners. And I think we've all been warned ever since we were kids that online dating or even just making friends on the internet is dangerous.But with technology and the internet getting more and more advanced and popular, and people are getting more and more familiar with it, online dating seems to be a more efficient way to meet new people in our busy lives. One of the biggest arguments for people who disagree with online dating is that many people lie on their online dating profiles.And I would say that is somewhat true. So aside from catfishing, which means that the person just absolutely fakes their entire identity, most people generally present the best side of them on the online dating profiles. But who doesn't?Imagine when you just meet someone new, either online or in person.Of course, you're not going to tell them your deepest and darkest secrets, and you want to make a good impression. So I would say yes, people might sugarcoat themselves on the online dating profiles, and that's why you should always still base your judgments of them on the way they interact with you in person rather than their online dating profiles.And that leads us to the second major argument of online dating, which is meeting the person you've been talking to only through the internet. And I have to say, although I know it's been said many times before, when you meet someone on the internet for the first time, always meet in a public area where there are other people around, such as cafes, restaurants, live concerts, or even movie theaters. Don't meet them at their places, don't invite them to your place, or even go to a place with very few people.And do it a couple times. Make sure that they are not onto something bad. Just always be careful when you meet someone new on the internet for the first time. I think it's just a common precaution that you take. And once you've met them a couple times in person, you can probably get a sense of who they are as a person. And that's when you decide if you still want to hang out with that person, either as a friend or a potential love interest. And I sometimes think that people have this wrong impression of online dating, that you can either just meet the love of your life online, or you will meet very bad people on the internet. For me, online dating was just a way for me to meet new people. I really wasn't looking for a love interest. I just wanted to meet new friends and meet new people outside my daily life. And it doesn't have to be dating. And of course, yes, while most people on the platform might be looking for a romantic partner, they don't mind making new friends as well. I've made a couple of friends through Tinder, and I still remain friends with some of them. So I would say online dating apps are a way for you to meet new people. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to date someone. It can also be a way for you to just meet new friends. And of course, there are also people who are just looking for friends with benefits. And I'm not against that at all, by the way. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. But it's just not for me. It's not something that I'm looking for or I was looking for. And surprisingly, people are usually very upfront and honest about it, which I really appreciate, and I think is one of the good things about online dating, because it's supposed to be efficient, right? So people are usually very upfront about what they are looking for. And when I told them that it's not really my thing, they were usually like, alright, cool, have a nice day. And then we just went on with our lives with no hard feelings. I think online dating nowadays is more and more acceptable and more common, and people are more honest about what they want, which is always a good thing, I think. Mutual honesty is the key in online dating, in my opinion. Another thing about online dating is that people are more casual. So if you don't really click with that person, you can usually just fade out in the conversation. Or if that person doesn't get the hint and they want to proceed this conversation or this friendship, you can tell them that, hey, I'm not really interested. And they are usually fine with it. I say usually because I can only speak from my experience, and the people that I've met were really cool with it. So I think it was a good thing. Of course, that can sometimes be a bad thing if you are someone who is very serious from the start. You might feel hurt during the process of finding a romantic partner. So I would say that online dating might not be for everyone. If you know you're someone who is very serious about finding a love interest, then I would say don't start online dating, or maybe meeting people on the internet is not really your thing. But one thing I do want to mention about online dating is that it's not an option for you to avoid real life interactions, because you can't truly know someone until you really meet that person and talk to them and spend time knowing them face to face. I feel like sometimes when people first start using online dating apps, they have this misconception that they can just meet that person and talk to them and start dating them completely through the internet. And that is not the case, because I don't think real life interactions can be replaced. You really have to speak to that person or spend time with them face to face to truly develop a relationship, whether it's friendship or romantic relationship. So what about you? What's your opinion on online dating? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Or maybe you're like me and you think it's something neutral. Or if you have tried online dating, what's your experience? Feel free to share your thoughts down in the YouTube comment section or Apple Podcasts review section or even our Facebook fan page. And that's all for today's Chatterbox Island English podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to our show on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, KKBox, and SoundOn. You can also find our shows on YouTube and go on our website, that's www.eisland.com.tw for more information. I'm your host Elise, and I'll talk to you soon in the next episode. Bye!